Bhagavad Bhakta Sangha se Martyanam Kimutashisha. What to speak of, mortal beings who are hankering for insignificant benedictions and blessings of material opulence or pleasure, etc. So, a moment's association with devotee is not even equal to, what to speak of equal, it is nowhere close to anything. Even the liberation also is not close to that. So, Dhruva Maharaj is actually stressing on this. We see so many examples in the scriptures, how by the association of Narad Muni himself, he took association of the Bhaktivedantis just for a few months. And then we see Dhruva Maharaj himself, he just had a moment's association only. Prahlad also, Prahlad didn't even see, he got the instructions of Narada when he was in the womb. And Prachini Barhi, we see Prachina Barhi, uh, he got a moment's association of Narada and his life transformed. So we all also in this ISKCON society, Prabhupada speaks further in this purport, how glorious and how fortunate we are to get this association of devotees. So we should be very grateful for the kind of situation we are in, which is not easily obtainable. ब्रह्मांड भ्रमिते कोनो भाग्यवान जीव Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. So it is very, very rare to attain the association of devotees, and it cannot be taken for granted and just ignored or remain casual in the association of devotees. One should completely utilize, I would rather say exploit, spiritually, transcendentally exploit the association of devotees. Then Prabhupada says, transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and cannot be relishable without the association of devotees. It is impossible to relish devotional service alone. Not possible. And it cannot be complete also. One cannot practice devotional service alone. It has to be practiced in the association of devotees only. Bhagavad Gita says, Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So they are taking pleasure, Tushyanti, they are fully satisfied, completely satisfied, and Ramanti Cha, they are enjoying it. It is very pleasurable. Discussions, Bodhayantaha Parasparam, when they are discussing among themselves about the topics of the Supreme Lord, it becomes very pleasurable. When we try to read, understand, or hear, it is not so relishable because Maya Devi takes over or Nidra Devi takes over, and not so easy. It's very difficult. But in the association of devotees, it is definitely possible. And my personal experience is in the association of devotees who are close knit, who are like minded, and a smaller group, it is even more relishable than bigger groups like, say, okay, Bhagavatam, yes, we can have attention, but we are unable to express all our doubts, all our inquiries very openly, very freely. But that accessibility is there when it is close knit, like minded, close devotees, who, like, say, for example, devotee care system or anything like that. So lesser the number of devotees, it becomes more relishable. You all may differ, but that was my personal experience. So it becomes very relishable in the association of devotees only. One cannot relish devotional service alone. It is not possible. And the same version of this Machita Madgata Prana is there in Bhagavatam, where it says Parasparanu Kathanam Pavanam Bhagavad Yashaha Mitoratir Mita Tushtir Nivrittir Mita Atmana. So Parasparanu Kathanam, when the discussions happen about the transcendental glories of the Lord, Pavanam Bhagavad Yashaha. So the pure topics of Lord, the glories of the Lord, when it is discussed, it purifies us completely. And not only that, then mitoratihi, there is mutual attraction to the Supreme Lord. We share the attraction. I may not be attracted, but when I hear the realizations and expressions of other devotees, then I also develop attraction for the Supreme Lord. So, like that, mitoratihi, then mitatushti, one is completely satisfied. Nivritir mita atmanaha, one is relieved from all material sense gratification or entanglement, and he becomes completely peaceful, satisfied, happy, and he is nourished in devotional service. I'm very glad and happy to have such uh, nice devotees in ICC. A few devotees. Of course, I am not naming anybody. Don't want to embarrass them, but I have a good association of few devotees where I discuss, and so many times, so many things I have forgotten, because when we read, it's very easy to forget. Years after years, we may have read, we have studied, but we tend to forget. And it is needed to, review ourselves. A revision is needed, constant revision is needed. And that can happen only in the association of devotees. Devotees come together and then we discuss the topics. We understand Siddhanta, the Tattva, what is our position. We have to gauge ourselves, where am I situated? Am I progressing or not? Prabhupada is going to speak about all that in the purport now. So, we have therefore established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna conscious society and yet engage in Krishna consciousness is living in a great hallucination, for this is not possible. From this statement by Dhruva Maharaj, it is clear that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. It does not become distinct from material activities. Very strong statements. So, one cannot be aloof from this International Society for Krishna Consciousness and engage in devotional service, because that would be considered as he is living in great hallucination. But equally, being inside the society and not engaging in proper devotional service, not taking appropriate steps to advance, not utilizing the association of devotees, is also equally hallucinating only. So it is not just one way around, it is both the ways. Although, of course, Prabhupada is not mentioned here, but it is very evident from his purports. So, unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. So, our devotional service does not, we don't advance, we stagnate, we are unaware, we are not interested, we are disinterested. So, we are not aware that we are not advancing. So, that becomes an alarm bell. It should ring in our minds that, something is wrong. I'm not advancing. I'm stuck. There's one purport I want to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, 19.147. Madhya Leela, chapter 19, verse 147. 19.147. Sorry, I'm having a problem with my app. Can somebody read if you have it open?
Dharmachari Madhye
No.
19.147.
19.147. Okay, yeah. What is the verse?
Dharmachari Madhye Bahuta Karmanishta Koti Karmanishta Madhye Ekajnani Shreshta.
No, Madhya Leela, chapter 19, 147.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The translation: among the followers of Vedic knowledge, most are following the process.
Among the followers of Vedic knowledge, most are following the process of fruitive activity and distinguishing between good and bad work.
No, I'm sorry, Prabhu. It is wrong. I gave wrong. It is related to this Vaishnava Aparadh, where Prabhupada mentions that, I don't know, you can figure out. In the purport, it is mentioned, even if somebody thinks there is a pseudo devotee or a non devotee in our society, still one should continue to render devotional service in the society and not go away. And even if somebody thinks that there is no pure devotee, then one should inquire and clarify his doubts from the spiritual master. 157. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I got it wrong. So one should, you can read maybe the purport.
The 157. Tate mali yatnakari kare avarana aparada hastira aiche nahaye udgama. The garter must defend the creeper by fencing it all around, so that the powerful elephant of offenses may not enter. You want to read the purport also?
Yeah, I think it should be the second paragraph. You can read the second paragraph of the purport.
Even if one thinks that there are many pseudo devotees or non devotees in the Krishna conscious society, still one should stick to the society. If one thinks the society members are not pure devotees, one can keep direct company with the spiritual master. If there is any doubt, one should consult the spiritual master. However, unless one follows the spiritual master's instructions concerning the regulative principles and chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, one cannot become a pure devotee. By one's mental concoction, one falls down.
Okay. I think that's sufficient. Thank you, Prabhu. So sometimes you may have this, mental concoction. We may think we have become more intelligent. So I am advancing, but others are not advancing. Others don't have taste. I have taste. But here Srila Prabhupada is restricting. He is making sure that, we don't fall prey to this thought process where, of course, there may be pseudo devotees, there may be non devotees. We're not interested. We're not here to find fault. There may be. But the point here is one should continue to stick to the society. One should continue to remain in the institution. And one has to continue. But even if there is any doubt, one can approach the spiritual master or if the conditions are very bad, then one can directly have association with the spiritual master and report to him. So the point is that we don't concoct different things, deviate and go away, because what is important is to practice devotional service in the association of the devotees. That is why the gardener, this verse is referring to that gardener where he has to make sure, um, what is it? Kare avaran, right? He's supposed to fence and make sure that the the elephantine aparad, does not enter. So that is possible only by taking association of devotees. So even after taking the association of devotees, also sometimes we may fall prey to our own material inclinations. We are not very eager to reveal, expose. So one may continue to stay in the association of devotees and also be in hallucination, and one can be outside the association and also be in hallucination. Then the next one, the Lord says, Satam prasangat mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana. Only in the association of pure devotees can the words of Lord Krishna be fully potent and relishable to the heart and ear. So it is a repetition of the same thing before, how only in the association only one can relish. It is pleasing to the heart and the ear. Hrit karna rasayana. Satam prasangat mama virya samvido bhavanti hrit karna rasayana kata. Tajoshanadashvapavargavartmani. By practicing, by engaging in this process of hearing in the association of devotees, apavargavartmani, one easily, attains liberation. Shraddha ratir bhakti anukramishyati. Automatically, firm faith, shraddha, rati, attachment to the Lord, and bhakti, pure devotional service, automatically they originate. And when the same thing is done not in the association of devotees, then slowly the shraddha will disappear, then rati, attachment, will disappear, and bhakti also will disappear. This is what happens. So the ingredient here is the association of devotees. Dhruva Maharaj explicitly wanted the association of devotees. That association in devotional activities is like the waves of a incessantly flowing river. In Krishna consciousness society, we have full engagement 24 hours a day. Every moment of our time is always busily engaged in the service of the Lord. This is called the incessant flow of devotional service. Of course, in our society, it is just not hearing, but all the Navada Bhakti, Navavidha Bhakti, devotees are engaged continuously 24 hours a day. There is sufficient service. There is no dearth of services. I was very amazed the other day on Vaikuntha Ekadasi day, how wonderfully the devotees, especially Matajis, how nicely they have stitched wonderful, outfit for their lordships, and also the decoration, the ornamental decorations on the deities. It was amazing. A lot of hard work has definitely gone into it, and this is not like one day, but throughout every festival and every almost every day there are devotees, I think, who are engaged in garland services and so many other deity worship services. So there is no dearth of services in our movement, and everybody is busily engaged. So this constant practice of devotional service, Narada also tells Prachina Bhari, there's a very beautiful verse where he says, um, what is it? It's Prachina Bharhi. Narada says, Tasman Mahan Mukharitam Madhubit Charitra Piyusha Shesha Sarita Paritasravanti Taye Pibantya Vitrisho Nripagadha Karnais Tanas Prashantya Ashanatrid Bhayashoka Moha. So Narada is telling Tasmad Mahan Mukharitam Madhubit Charitra. The great souls from their mouth, from their lotus mouth, they are emanating the glories of the Lord. Madhubit Charitra. Madhubit is nothing but the killer of Madhu demon, Lord. And how is this glorification of the Lord? It is Sarita Paritasravanti. It is like Piyusha Shesha Sarita Paritasravanti. It is like waves of rivers. It is constantly flowing. And it is always flowing. But there are very few takers. Only those who are interested, they are able to contain it. And those who are taking it, their quality is also described. It is said that Taye Pibanti, those who are interested in drinking this constant flow of the nectarian waves of the glories of the Lord, Taye Pibanti, Avitrisho, unsatisfied. And Nripa Gadha Karana is, the Karana is Gadha. Gadha is like concentrated, like, Shrikand, like that. Nripa Gadha Karana is, then Tanas Prishanti Ashanatrid Bhayashoka Moha. Then the hunger, thirst, Bhaya, Shoka, Moha. None of these actually touch them because they are very much mad about hearing, like how Prabhupada mentions in this purport. They're very mad about, trying to hear the glories of the Supreme Lord. So there are devotees who are constantly engaged. But if there are takers, then they will find them. But if there are no takers, then, we stay back. Those who are not so serious, we stay back. We are not able to have access to such glorification of the Lord. A Mayavadi philosopher may question us. You may be very happy in the association of devotees, but what is your plan for crossing the ocean of material existence? Dhruva Maharaj's answer is that it is not very difficult, because Mayavadis, they think that one should be, very austere and one should be in a secluded place. So they think, you're associating and contaminating yourself. What is your plan to deliver yourself? He clearly says that the ocean can be crossed very easily if one simply becomes mad to hear the glories of the Lord. Bhavat Guna Katha, for anyone who persistently engages in hearing the topics of the Lord from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and who is actually addicted to this process, just as one becomes addicted to intoxicants, it is very easy to cross the nations of material existence. So one has to become a drunkard. We have a lot of drunkards here in ICC, transcendental drunkards, eager to drink the nectarian pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So one has to become mad, one has to be intoxicated, one has to be addicted, just like a drug addict. One has to be restless. I had mentioned this earlier also, how Parikshit was restless. It is said here, in his conversation with Shukadev Goswami, Parikshit says, Shraddadhanaya bhaktaya bruhita janma vistaram rishena tripyate mana param kautuhalam hime. So kautuhalam, he is saying that I have Shraddha. Bruhita janma vistaram. I am eager to hear. So please speak. Bruhi, please speak. Rishena tripyate mana. I am not satisfied. Param kautuhalam hime. I am agitated. So Parikshit Maharaj is restless, just like a drug addict. A drug addict is very restless. He cannot sit in one place. And even for 2 minutes, he cannot sit. He is walking up and down. He is very disturbed. His mind is so agitated, he cannot sit in one place. So Parikshit Maharaj is also restless. He is also a drug addict, but he is addicted to the transcendental drug called as Krishna Katha. So we learn, how to be mad to hear the glories of Lord from Parikshit. So there are many such verses in Bhagavatam which speaks about how one should be addicted to hearing the glories. Then it is said only then it is possible. Then it becomes very easy to cross over this material existence. It is very, otherwise it is very difficult to cross over, but in the association of devotees, by engaging in hearing the glories of the Lord, it becomes very easy. But that hearing should be constant. It should be a constant flow, the waves of the nectarian pastimes of the Lord. It is not like 1 hour sadhana. The ocean of material existence is compared to a blazing fire. But to a devotee, this blazing fire is insignificant because he is completely absorbed in devotional service. Although the material world is blazing fire, to a devotee it appears full of pleasure. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. And this Vishwam Purna Sukhayate is because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vidhi Mahendra Adishcha Kitayate Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavatam Tam Gaurameva Stuma. That is the continuation of this verse. Only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, because we are absorbed in pure devotional service, by just a vision of mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one is able to experience Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Or else Krishna is telling Dukhalema Shashvatam. For a devotee, it is Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. The purport of this statement by Dhruva Maharaj is that a devotional service in the association of devotees is the cause of the development of further devotional service. Devotional service is the cause of further devotional service. We want to advance in devotional service, then devotional service is the cause in the association of devotees. By devotional service, one is elevated to the transcendental planet Golok Vrindavan, and there also there is only devotional service. For the activities of devotional service, both in this world and in the spiritual world are one and the same. So there is devotional service here and there is devotional service there. So there is no difference, but still there is a minor difference. We'll come to know what that is. Devotional service does not change. The example of a mango can be given here. If one gets a ripe mango, if one gets an unripe mango, it is still a mango. And when it is ripe, it remains the same mango. But it has become more tasteful and relishable. Similarly, there is devotional service performed according to the direction of the spiritual master and the injunctions and regulative principles of Shastra. And there is devotional service in the spiritual world, rendered directly in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they are both the same. There is no change. The difference is, at one stage it is unripe, and another stage it is ripe and more relishable. It is possible to mature in devotional service only in the association of devotees. So Srila Prabhupada is stressing that our devotional service can only mature in the association of devotees. One can practice devotional service alone, but it is not possible. Eventually, one will give it up. Not possible. I was asking other day, I met a devotee after a very long time. प्रभु जी कैसा चल रहा है आपका चैंटिंग? सर हाँ वो चल रहा है, वो चलते रहता है, वो चल रहा है. So after a very long time, I had met him. We don't know. Maybe it is running, but eventually it will stop. If they don't come, if they have a gap of 1, 2, 3 years, it will not continue. But one may be in that mental concoction that no, I am chanting, I am practicing, but I'm doing it alone. So somehow they think that it's possible to practice alone. So in the same way, like Prabhupada mentions, our devotional service will not mature if it is not in the association of devotees. In the association of devotees, we may see so many faults, but we should ignore the faults and focus on the good. Sajjana gunamichanti doshamichanti pamar. As Prabhupada mentions, one should ignore the faults that we see in a devotee and be in their association, and eventually we will be purified. We are in the unripe stage. In this unripe stage, we are practicing sadhana bhakti, and in sadhana bhakti, our false ego is very prominent, and the cleansing of false ego happens only in the association of devotees. We are practicing alone at home or anywhere else. The false ego has no scope of purification, it can only inflate. But in the association of devotees, there are wonderful chances of cleansing, purification. Like I remember Radhesham Prabhu once he mentioned, we are all like unpolished diamonds. They are all put in one bowl, like you see in some gambling casino or somewhere. They're all put in one bowl, and the bowl rotates over a period of several years. And all the unpolished diamonds, they rub against each other. And finally, the product is, shining diamonds. So like that, cleansing, purification of our anarthas, it happens only in the association of devotees. We get opportunity to practice humility, patience, tolerance, forgiveness, gratitude, all of that only in the association of devotees. We are they will make sure that we will be forced to follow all this. That is what happens in the association of devotees, and that is how we are able to cleanse our anarthas, and we are able to mature in our devotional service. Only then we can become the ripe mangoes. So I think in recent one class, somebody had given a class in ICC. He was mentioning how Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he saw one person come, and he was finding fault, doshadarshi. He was seeing all faults in the devotees. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he simply dismissed him, saying that, yeah, I have all patients here. So I'm curing them. I'm doing my best. So what do you expect in a hospital? So, but somebody who comes with the attitude of, I am better, I am greater, I am intelligent, I am more learned. They are less intelligent, they are milichas, they are yavanas, they are still learning, they don't know the Vedic culture. I have to teach them. Who are doshadarshis, they have no place. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so protective of his disciples. He just, dismissed that person who came to visit, to take darshan of the deities. So instead of doing Bhagavad darshan, he did doshadarshi. So he was, even the Lord also does not see faults. I remember Haridev Prabhu once he mentioned in the class that the Lord is Nimisha and Animesha. He has big eyes without eyelids like Jagannath, where he is very eager to see the wonderful qualities of the devotees. But he is also known as Nimisha because he does not want to see the fault of devotees. So he ignores. Sometimes, if devotees are making mistakes or committing sin for that matter, accidental sin, not deliberate planned sin, then the Lord forgives them. He ignores it. Vikarma yatcha utpatitam katanchit dhunoti sarvam hridi sannivishta. Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya. So the one who is engaged in devotional service and by mistake if he is committing an offense or a sin, then the Lord sitting in his heart, he cleanses him of that. So when the Lord is so merciful, when the Lord is so forgiving, now who are we to find a fault in a devotee and talk about it? So this verse is the glorification of the association of devotees. So association of devotees is a very rare thing, and one should be very grateful for all that we have. I want to sing one small bhajan, a very beautiful bhajan related to the glory of a Vaishnava and what should be the mood of one who is taking shelter of devotees. It is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Sarvasva Tomar Charane. I don't know if you have your Vaishnava songs app. Okay, 1 second. Sarvasva Tomar Charane. If you are ready, I can start. If at least even a few devotees have it, then you can. Sarvasva Tomar Charane Sampiya Podiche Tomar Ghare. তুমি তো ঠাকুর তোমার কুকুর বলিয়া জানা হো মোরে বান্ধিয়া নিকটে আমারে পালিবে রহিব তোমার দ্বারে প্রতিপজনে রে আসিতে না দিব রাখিব গঢ়ের পারে तव निज जन प्रसाद सेविया उच्छिष्ट राखी बेजा আমার ভোজন परम आनंदे प्रतिदिन होबे ताहा বসিয়া শুইয়া তোমার চরণ চিন্তিব সতত আমি নাচিতে নাচিতে নিকটে যাইব যখন ডাকিবে তুমি নিজের পোষণ কভু না ভাবিব রহিব ভাবের ভোরে ভকতি বিনোদ তোমার পালক বলিয়া বরণ করে So the translation says, now that I have surrendered, I may have wrong translation, please correct me. Now that I have surrendered all I possess, I fall prostrate before your house. You are the Supreme Lord, kindly consider me your household dog. Of course, this bhajan is, he is addressing to the Supreme Lord, but he is also referring to the fact that how it is important to be a menial servant of the spiritual master or the pure devotee. Chain me nearby and maintain me as you wish. I shall remain at the doorstep and allow no enemies to enter your house. I will keep them at the bounds of the moat surrounding your home. Home we can consider as the temple or our own devotional service, and we are housing the Lord in the temple or in the temple of our heart. And what are the enemies which we want to keep away? Material desires, Mayavad, all of that, or offenses. Whatever remnants your devotees leave behind after honoring your prasad will be my daily sustenance. I will feast on those remnants with great ecstasy. While sitting up, while lying down, I will constantly meditate on your lotus feet. Whenever you call, I will immediately run to you and dance in rapture. Have you seen? And whenever, when they call the dog, it will come running. It is not lazy. It does not have that ahankar like a man has. You call, Prabhu, can you please come? He may hesitate. He may think twice. Should I come or not? Should so much of mental concoction happens. But dog is not like that. It'll run coming. It's very eager to serve the master. I will never think of my own maintenance, but rather remain transported by a multitude of ecstasies. Bhakti Vinod accepts you as his only support. So it is easy to serve. No, sorry, not easy. It is easy to render menial service like cleaning of a toilet or washing pots in the kitchen, but it is not easy to serve a Vaishnava. It is more, one has to be more menial servant to serve a Vaishnava, because there could be intentions of there is pride in also being humble. There is pride in cleaning a toilet. There can be, it is not necessarily, it depends on the maturity of the devotee. There can be pride in performing a menial service. But when it comes to the service of a Vaishnava, there is no question of pride. One has to be more menial servant. Only then it is possible to serve. So it's difficult. It is not so easy. If the Vaishnava is very, very merciful, we don't feel the what do you call the experience of being a menial servant. But when we serve all the Vaishnavas, we will definitely feel that one has to be very menial, because we have all varieties of Vaishnavas. So like that, in the association of devotees, overlooking all the faults, one serve the Vaishnavas, and then we advance in our spiritual life. So sadhu sang is very important. Prabhupada's life history, we see, he was a great acharya. We haven't ever heard in the history of any great Vaishnava like him, where simply by a moment's association with Prabhupada. So many stories are there like this. The Venezuelan Airlines air hostess, simply she took prasad from the plate of Prabhupada and she became a devotee. Then in Russia, Prabhupada preached only 3 days or 5 days, I don't remember. 3 or 5 days in the hotel room. And that Russian boy, who was a friend of an Indian diplomat's son, he took it up seriously. Just a few days. And the whole movement, Krishna consciousness movement, spread in Russia. Lakhs and lakhs of devotees by one single person because of 3 days of association with Prabhupada. Then there is example of Prabhupada when he was in transit, to go towards US or Japan somewhere, in transit on the airport in Fiji Islands, he preached to some Indian businessman or somebody. Can you imagine? Somebody preaching for few hours on an airport, and there are devotees in the entire country. That was the potency of Srila Prabhupada. Simply by his association, unknowingly taking his association also, one's life completely transformed. Many examples are there. There is a devotee called as Dhananjay Prabhu. There is Yadubar Prabhu, who came, wanted to do some documentary. He became a devotee just because he had a few days of association. Unlimited number of pastimes are there. So Srila Prabhupada is epitomizing this Bhagavata shloka, Tulyama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam. Just by a moment's association, their life was transformed. And we should not think that only association of great devotees is being spoken here. We should know that all the sadhakas are also equally great devotees. So we get what we deserve. We get according to our hankering. Whatever is our hankering, we get devotees accordingly. And like last class, Kratu Maharaj, he mentioned how there are pure devotees in ICC also. One has to recognize and serve them. You don't have to worry about giving up everything and going away. By seeing our sincere service to the Vaishnavas here in this local place, the Lord will arrange much better association or advanced association, or rather we may have advanced association here itself without having to underestimate any Vaishnavas. One can render service to all the Vaishnavas and take their association, make proper utilization. Without the mercy of the Vaishnavas, one cannot advance. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur mentions in Chaitanya Bhagavat, he gives references how he says, Archayatvat Govindam Tadiyanam na archayetu yaha nasa bhagavato gneyo kevalam dambhikam spritam. Somebody is worshipping Govinda, but he is not respecting his devotees. Then nasa bhagavata gneyo, he is not a devotee. Nasa bhagavata gneyo, he cannot be considered as devotee. Kevalam dambhikam, he is a dambhika, that's it. Then tasmad Vishnu prasadaya Vaishnavanam paritoshayet prasado simukhas Vishnus tenaiva syat na samshayaha. Tasmad Vishnu prasadaya. That is why if somebody wants the mercy of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, then the formula is Vaishnavanam paritoshayet. One should satisfy the Vaishnavas. Then what does the Lord do? Prasado sumukhas Vishnus tainaiva syat na samshayaha. The Lord is actually very eager to give his mercy. He is waiting for us to render service to the Vaishnavas. So prasado sumukhas Vishnus tainaiva syat na samshayaha. He will immediately give his mercy to us when we render a devotional service. He is very eager. Like last class, Maharaj was mentioning Kanchipurna. He handed over the chamara in the hands of the Lord. That is to that extent, the Lord is eager for us to go ahead and render service to the Vaishnavas. And then one is able to advance by the mercy of the Lord. Like that, many references are there. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives many references. Siddhir Bhavati Vaneti Samshaya Achyuta Sevinam Nihi Samshayastu Tad Bhakta Paricharya Ratatmanam. So there is doubt for one who is worshipping the Supreme Lord. Samshaya Achyuta Sevinam. Siddhir Bhavati Vaneti. Well, whether someone will get success in his devotional service or not, there is a doubt for a devotee. But Nihi samshayastu tad bhakta paricharya ratatmanam. But that devotee, there is no doubt he will be liberated. One who renders service, menial service to the other Vaishnavas. So already it is there in the Tattva. We have heard it several times. So it has to be constantly put in practice. Okay, I will end here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anyone has any questions or comments or want to add anything, are free to do it. Hare Krishna. The Vaishnavas are more merciful. Bhagavatam says, Janasya Krishnad Vimukhasya Daivat Adharma Shilasya Sudukhitasya Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. On the behalf of the Supreme Lord, the Vaishnavas go all around to deliver, although they don't have that capacity like the Supreme Lord. Of course, if somebody is a Shaktiavesh avatar, yes. But even otherwise, all the great souls, they travel across the universe to deliver those who are Vimukha, show their mercy. They know very well, what their condition is. Actually, the Vaishnavas are very merciful. The Lord himself tells that, my devotees are very dear to me. In one place, he says that the devotees are my spiritual masters. A very beautiful verse. I don't remember it. He says the devotees are my spiritual. The whole world, he says, people consider me as Jagat Guru because Krishnam Mande Jagat Guru. But my devotees are also equally Jagat Gurus. And then further he says that, in fact, the devotees are my spiritual masters. They are my Guru. The Lord says that. So he has, he has placed his devotees very high. Chaitanya Bhagavat is an amazing book. One can relish. In that, Mahaprabhu says that if anybody offends my devotee, even if he is my son, I will kill him. These are the words used by. So that shows his love for the Vaishnavas, and he uses the Vaishnavas to deliver the Jivas. In the 11th canto, also, in this Uddhava and Lord Krishna's conversation, he is telling Puyaye Tangri Renubhi. What is that first? He says, Nirapeksha Munim Shantam Niravairam Samadarshinaha Anuvrajamyaham Nityam Puyayet Angri Renubhi. He's saying, my devotees, Nirapeksha, they have no desires. They have no expectations. Apeksha is expectation, no expectation. Munim Shantam, they are very quiet, very peaceful, satisfied. Niravairam, they have no enemies. They see everybody equal. Samadarshana. Anuvrajami, I follow in their footsteps because they have set a very great example. I follow in the footsteps of my devotees. And Puyayet Angri Renubi, I purify the entire universe by the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees. Lord doesn't say I will purify. He says I will purify the universe through the dust of my devotees. So that is his regard for his own devotees. So the Vaishnavas are definitely more merciful than the Lord, unless you differ in any. Hare Krishna.
One aspect is Prabhupada giving his mercy, and the other aspect is the recipient receiving the mercy. Okay. So is it that because of the Ajnata Sukriti of the recipient, he is getting the mercy of the Acharya, or is it the direct benefit of the Acharya who is giving it unconditionally? This is something which can throw some light on. I hope you got the point.
Yeah, you're asking whether is it because of their Agyata Sukriti qualification, or is it
The special mercy of the
Lord?
Acharya
Yeah.
who is giving it unconditionally to, even though he is not qualified.
Right. Although it is a combination of both, because it is different in different cases. Nobody knows who is coming from what background. But the special mercy of a Vaishnava does not have to depend on the previous Agyata Sukriti of a Jiva. Even though he may have no Agyata Sukriti, zero Agyata Sukriti, a Vaishnava can deliver him. So that is mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Hirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, Khasadaya. Yannecha Papa Idapashrasha, Shuddhyanti Tasme Prabhavishnave Nama. So just by the association of a pure devotee, even a moment's association, most degraded also can be delivered. He can become a pure devotee by the power of the mercy of a Vaishnava. So Agyata Sukriti is not a criteria. Although if it is there, yeah, great, he can easily come to Krishna consciousness. That is not needed.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
may I know who is real Vaishnava?
Even I am not aware. Very difficult to identify. Although there are gradations given in our scriptures, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is gradation given where it is called Vaishnava Praya, Vaishnava, Vaishnava Tara, Vaishnava Tama. Like that, there are 4 gradations. Elsewhere, the gradation of Vaishnava Praya and Vaishnava is given as Kanishta, then Vaishnava Tara as Madhyama, and Vaishnava Tama as Uttama Bhakta. Like that. We cannot see because nobody can see the consciousness of each person. So somebody sitting next to you can be an advanced Vaishnava. Okay. I'm not so, I have heard that, but I'm not so clear on it. Maybe somebody can, you yourself can explain that. We'll all hear.
Within our ISKCON circles, there's a very nice story. Within our ISKCON circles, there's a very nice story which is being circulated for a very long time. And they always give this story, including our Radha Gopinath Prabhu, and even Radhanath Maharaj relates this story. Even our, Radhesham Prabhu also quotes this story very often. They talk about a devotee who just wants to know who is a Vaishnava. So they ask somebody, he has to travel all the way from Kanchipuram up to Tirupati. It's a very long distance and he has to make it by road. And then he goes and meets this one's there. And then it goes on to say how he says first, in Tamil, they relate, it's Kokkai Polirikum. Okay, one should be like a crane, one should be like a hen, one should be like salt, and the other is one should be like you. So they relate the story of this devotee going and how he was neglected all along. And ultimately, they sum up that one should be like a crane. The crane, what it does is it stands in water like a real renunciant. but it is looking at the still waters as the fishes are moving. And the moment it spots the fish for food, it just puts us what do you call beak and picks up the. So Vaishnavas are like that. They're looking out for pure, wonderful devotees who deserve mercy. And they pick them up and deliver them. This is the example what is given. The second, they talk about a hen. Koli polirkum. So it should be like a hen. You see a hen pecking around everywhere. It picks up dirt. What it wants, it always picks up. That's they say koli polirkum. Uppai polirkum. That means it should be like salt. We eat food. If at all there is no salt in the food is tasteless, but they never glorify the salt. They glorify the food. That's another example they give. And then they give the example of this person who went to have association of these devotees to get the answer for this question. And gradually, over a period of time, he was neglected and made to feel miserable. But in spite of that, he tolerated all that. And then they said, Unnai Porikam, it should be like you, what you're being so humble and giving this knowledge to the deserving and being merciful. So these are the 4 dimensions they give, and they say such a person is a real Vaishnava. This is the kind of story which they relate to.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for sharing it. Hare Krishna.
Maybe people who know Tamil can probably explain this better. So
Okay. We close here. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Today we'll just thank His Grace Ashok Gaurav Prabhu for the class in English, and then we have His Grace Balaji Govinda Prabhu for in Kannada. So we can just chant the Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we have 4 sponsors. First is the disciples of His Holiness Vedavyasa Puri Maharaj. So this is from them, the first one. Second one is Prabhavati Mataji's husband, Raghunath Rao. He's actually sponsoring to just commemorate the 45th day of Mataji's leaving her body. Prabhuji, it was given the other. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that mistake. Okay, so Raghunath Rao. Okay, for probably leaving the body. Okay, leaving the body. Third is Vasanta Mataji is sponsoring today, and fourth is Shyama Karuna Mataji. Shyama Karuna Mataji, in remembrance of her parents, Krishnaya Shetty and Prabhavatma Prabhu's death anniversary. So we'll just chant the Mahamantra once. Yeah. If we just have the sponsors here, we can just come and collect the prasadam. Virachandrika Mataji, if you can. Yes. Garland. Others. Haribol. Any other sponsors today who are there here? Okay. Then we have the third announcement is regarding we have His Holiness Vyasadeva Priya Swami Maharaj, he's here. He is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He's actually he'll be giving classes of Srimad Bhagavatam on 13th Monday and on 15th, that is Wednesday, at 8 a.m. in the morning in the temple hall. Please join, and you can take his association on that.
Hare Krishna devotees. His Holiness Vyasadeva Priya Swami Maharaj, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, ಅವರು ಬರೋ ಮಂಡೇ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 13ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಮತ್ತು ವೆಡ್ನೆಸ್ಡೇ ಬುಧವಾರ ದಿವಸ 15ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಎರಡೂ ದಿವಸ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ 8 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ Maharaj's association.
And then we've been making this particular announcement on the Nitya Seva, which is for the temple's maintenance. So those who have not started contributing can take a commitment from 2025, make a monthly commitment. You can just connect with the accounts office and make your contribution.
ನಿತ್ಯ ಸೇವೆಗೆ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಎನ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವೋ ಅಥವಾ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವೋ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ತಮ್ಮ ಆದಾಯದ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಹಣವನ್ನು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕೆಂದು ಎಲ್ಲರಲ್ಲೂ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಟೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಸ್ ಪ್ರಸಾದೇಶ್ವರ ಪ್ರಭು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
And the final announcement is regarding the new auditorium which is coming up. We're all seeing it, and we want its quick completion. So we're just seeking devotees, that is donations for this particular project. We'll be having 5 different categories of sponsorship over here. First is Srivas Thakur Seva, that is about 5,000 rupees, or we can do a Gadadhara Pandit Seva, which is 25,000 rupees, or we can do the Advaita Acharya Seva, which is 50,000 rupees. Nityananda Prabhu Seva is 75,000 rupees, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Seva, which is 1 lakh rupees. Whatever is within our ability, we can make that contribution.
ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಡಿವೋಟೀಸ್. ಭಕ್ತಿ ವೇದಾಂತ ಆಡಿಟೋರಿಯಂ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಭಕ್ತರಲ್ಲೂ ಡೊನೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ವಿನಂತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೊನೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಶ್ರೀವಾಸ್ ಠಾಕೂರ್ ಡೊನೇಷನ್, ಇದು 5,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಗದಾಧರ್ ಪಂಡಿತ್ ಸೇವಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ 25,000. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದ್ವೈತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಸೇವಾ 50,000 ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಪ್ರಭು ಸೇವಾ 75,000 ಇದೆ. ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಮಹಾಪ್ರಭು ಸೇವಾ 1 ಲಕ್ಷ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಭಕ್ತರಲ್ಲಿ ವಿನಂತಿ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಒಂದು ಭಕ್ತಿ ವೇದಾಂತ ಆಡಿಟೋರಿಯಂ ಶ್ರೀಲ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಇದು. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಯಥಾಶಕ್ತಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಣಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಅರ್ಪಿಸಿ. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ.
Now we can join in the temple hall to sing the Nandanandashtakam, followed by Prasadam. Hare Krishna.